Any of you who are rather astute will notice that for once I actually have the tie on proper. Like, it's underneath the collar, little buttons right here. That's because I've got not one but two pretty big things going on this morning. One of which is going to church for a very special service. But also, there's something rather important I'm going to be doing before I go to church that hopefully I'll be able to do it in time. If not, we'll have to see. But before I do that, let's get to my low and my high, my act of kindness. What's my low? Man, it was still pretty cold out yesterday. That's for sure. My high was, let's see, what was my high? I got to see my family yesterday. Got to spend a lot of time with my dad. And my act of kindness was I helped my parents watch my nephews for a little while last night. Okay, so, well, you know what? I wouldn't say I make this particular video a traditional thing, but I think I might as well because I do it every year. Because this is no ordinary Sunday. It's Palm Sunday. Yes, for those of you who don't know, 1 week before Lent is over. So literally Easter is going to be a week from today, which is one of my favorite days of the year, so I'm really excited. But in the week before Easter, there's a celebration called Palm Sunday, where, at this service you get, palms to take home. Now, one interesting fact about these palms is any palms that aren't picked up by others are then burned down and turned into the ashes that are used for Ash Wednesday the next year. So, in a way, it's, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's pretty neat. I mean, listen, these palms are no longer on a tree. They're going to dry up at some point anyway. Although, full disclosure, I still have a mound of palms over the years that are on my the top of my mirror over there. So, they're dried up, but that's about it. So, for years, I actually kind of used to not look forward to this weekend. Because, as many of you guys know, when I was growing up, I really wasn't a fan of going to church. In fact, I've even gone so far as to say I've had a lot of really solid weekends ruined solely because we went to church. Again, not a fan. So, but, luckily though, as an adult, I have a better appreciation for it. So, I'm not the man I once was. Anyway, so this particular service was always something I never looked forward to because this is the service where we read the entirety of the Passion of the Christ. Now, for those of you who don't know, it is the story of how, technically it started Thursday night. So it's that period from Thursday into Sunday when Jesus had died and rose again from the dead. That's what it is. Now, it starts on Thursday night when he was captured. Friday, he was sentenced to death, carried a big cross, and was crucified on it. And it was on the cross that he died. Which, here's the thing, My father actually had to explain to me how crucifixion actually works, because with your arms spread like this, um, like it makes your like ribs and shoulders collapse, and so like you can't breathe anymore. Like that's how people died on. I always thought it was the fact, because again, this is brutal. They nailed your hands and feet to the cross. I thought it was the pain of that happening that caused Jesus to die. But no, it was actually you know, lack of oxygen, I guess. I had no idea that that's how it happened. But he died. They placed him in a tomb, and then 3 days later on Sunday, Jesus had risen because his body was no longer there. That's how the story goes. Now, I didn't even take. I think altogether it took maybe a minute and a half for me to explain that to you all. Here's the thing. When we read the entirety of the Passion, I swear that's like, once upon a time, it used to take I swear it took like a half hour to do. And it felt even longer because we were always standing, because, the priest reads the part of Jesus. You have someone who plays a narrator, someone who plays a speaker. You have, the audience in the church playing, the crowd of people, and among other things. And between that and, some people just read slower than others, I swear, it turned what would be a normal, roughly an hour service into an hour and a half to hour 45 minutes. I swear that's what it felt like. Luckily, though, in recent years, it hasn't been all bad. I mean, one major difference is, at least when I go to St. Mary Mother, we're actually allowed to sit down as this is going on. That is a huge difference. One that actually makes things much more comfortable. So, yeah. And I remember when I was a kid, whenever, I would hear, the Stations of the Cross, which is, the Stations of the Cross is essentially, when Jesus started carrying the cross and then, his resurrection, that part, I remember a couple times as a kid it made me cry. Keep in mind, though, it wasn't just me being sad for the fact that Jesus died, just dying in general really used to terrify me. Really used to terrify me. That was probably, I was 6 years old when I learned that death was bad, and that was my very first existential crisis. So hey, it'll be coming up 30 years this summer. Holy cow. So, I mean, it doesn't really make me sad anymore, but I definitely will always feel the emotional weight behind it. And different stories different versions of this story will say that when Jesus died, the sky went black. The version we went yesterday was that earthquakes were happening, as well as the sky went black. The sky always seems to go black. That's the one common thing amongst every version of the story you might hear. But as soon as Jesus died, the sky turned black. That's really about it. I mean, again, it's a story that I know because I've heard it numerous times as a Catholic, and I'm sure if you're watching this and you're Catholic, yeah, you've heard that story dozens of times as well. So I guess the way to break it down would be for me, because if the name The Passion of the Christ sounds familiar to you, it should, because Mel Gibson actually made a movie about it. It was just titled The Passion. He directed it. And it was at one point the highest grossing film of all time. It made its money at the box office for very obvious reasons. However, it was also the subject of a lot of controversy because it made a certain group of people look not so good. I'd rather not say what this group of people is because it might get me canceled. I will say that my experience with, this group of people has been nothing but wonderful. In fact, I have several friends and brothers from Trinity Pauling who were among this group of people, so no hatred here. Listen, if you've seen that movie, honestly, I never saw that movie because I think it was rated R, and I wasn't allowed to watch stuff like that back then. Again, I heard the story a bunch of times, so I know what happens. If you really, and I do mean really, want to watch anything with the title The Passion in it, and I'm kind of going back on what I just said a minute ago, just watch the South Park episode Passion of the Jew. It's funnier. And it's easily one of the best South Park episodes ever. I believe Nostalgia Critic had this at number 5 on his top 11 South Park episodes. Because, actually this would be 11. So Christian Rock Hard, Britney's New Look, Shin Pokemon, right, Good Times. One of my all-time favorite episodes, Good Times with Weapons, made that list. That's pretty great. I think Canceled was on that list. Maybe. Although the top 3 are, I'm not going to give away number 1, but if you're a South Park fan, yeah, you totally could have guessed All About the Mormons would have been like number 2 for sure. I remember Woodland Critter Christmas being the Imagination Land trilogy, that was 4. No, I'm sorry, the Coon trilogy. The Coon trilogy was number 4. Although number 3, and this still kind of surprises me a bit. It's a good episode, but personally, I think there's one that might be a little bit better, and that's A Woodland Critter Christmas. And South Park is no stranger making Christmas episodes. They made several, even made an Easter episode. The Easter episode's actually highly underrated. I like that one. But Woodland Critter Christmas is a good episode, but for my money, if I want to watch a South Park Christmas episode, I'm going to watch Red Sleigh Down. That was my first episode of South Park ever. My very first episode of South Park ever was Red Sleigh Down. It's got Santa Claus teaming up with Jesus. And they're fighting terrorists. How is that not better than Woodland Critter Christmas? I ask you. Seriously, for real, I ask you. Listen. Different strokes for different folks. And not to mention, and the Nostalgia Critic put this perfectly, to come up with a top 10 or a top 20 of something, is already difficult enough as it is. With South Park, you might as well have it be like a top 30 or even top 50. Because that's how many great episodes there are. And yeah, there's a lot of great episodes of South Park. I mean, I will admit I haven't seen many of the most recent stuff, but I mean, listen, give Trey Parker and Matt Stone all the credit in the world, man. Like, they know, like, they literally wrote the formula as how to make good, to make a good show. Which you think would be pretty easy to figure out, but, I mean, listen, there's a reason why you got shows like South Park or The Simpsons that have lasting power, and you have other shows that, don't. So this is a really long-winded way of me saying, it's Palm Sunday today. Be sure to get your palms if you haven't gotten some already. I'm going to go to church again. Hopefully I'll have time to go to church again later to get a few more. I'm actually really excited. I don't know why, but I actually kind of like how I hold these. Like, for all intents and purposes, palms are actually kind of on the fragile side, but, like, they're also, like, stiff, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. I like the contrast, I suppose. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble. This video for all of you guys watching Joe Verdane. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Happy Palm Sunday, everyone. And remember, if you want to talk, change the video to Lent. Always get back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.